Welcome to Strange Talk with Doc. I hope that everything's beautiful with you. I hope everything is beautiful with yours. We got a couple of things to talk about. It's not going to be a very long podcast today, but we're going to hit on some things like we always do. We try to keep some information flowing, sports, news, entertainment, that type of thing. We're going to start off with one point. It is not your Band-Aid to rip off. If it is not your wound, if it is not your scar, if it's not your hurt and pain, you do not have the right to rip that off of someone else. Just think about that for a second. You have to have boundaries with other people. There's steps that you should not cross over. There are lines that you should not leave blurred. You should do things to respect other people's privacy. You don't know what they're going through internally unless you ask them first before you make any moves on someone's behalf that you have not been given approval to do. You should really move with caution. You should proceed with the most caution that you can possibly, because you're dealing with somebody's emotional issues. The reason I say that is you don't have the right to out a homosexual because you know that they may be gay, bisexual, or whatever. That is on them in their time. If somebody is keeping a secret, and most of us have something that we are covering up in some way, shape, form, or fashion, that's just reality. I know everybody listening is perfect and you don't have any skeletons in your closet, but most people that you deal with on a daily basis, even if they're your clergy, has some form of skeleton in their closet, and it's something that they're really not willing to talk about. They're willing to take that to the grave, even if they're the most loquacious person. The most loquacious person might not tell you everything that's going on with them. I had somebody recently rip my Band-Aid off of a wound that I've been carrying for almost 30 years, and they did not have the right to do so. They did not ask my permission. They did not go about this in a proper manner. I'm not going to get any deeper into the subject than that, but that's why I came up with this title. You can rip your own Band-Aids off anytime you like. It might be healed underneath there, and it's time for that Band-Aid to go. It has served its purpose. That scar is no longer open. It's scabbed up. It's nicely healed. You can put some lotion or A&D ointment on it and move on with life. But if you got a fresh wound, a gaping hole, and somebody decides to just come over and rip it off, they don't know the damage they do. And then most people won't even apologize for the damage they cause when they rip these Band-Aids. Let's not just call them bandages off of your wounds. And if anybody is going through that, I feel bad for you because I can not only relate, I can empathize. I am living through it. People like I said, they overstep their bounds. They do things that they have no right to do. Even if you think it's in good intention, you have to think, and I've done shows on this, you have to think of everything from a 360 perspective. What will this cause? What will I harm? What will I help? How will I look? Will I be a hero? Will I be the villain? Will I cause more pain than somebody deserves? Has this person ever done anything to me to deserve the pain that I'm about to inflict on them? If you don't think about all these things, then you're wrong. You're dead wrong. So proceed with caution, man. If you love somebody, your job is to love them. Love does not mean hurt. Love does not mean bitter. Love does not mean jealousy. Love does not mean spite. Love is pure. It is as pure as hate. When you blur your lines and you really hate a person, but you attempt to convince yourself that you love them, but you only cause them pain, what are you really doing? Because most people don't fool anybody. If you're a person like me, you check out a person's patterns. You forget what they say. You remember how they do things, how they go about conducting themselves on a daily basis when they deal with you. And that will give you all the information that you ever need to know about said person. Just want to put that bug in your ear and we're going to move on, man. If it is not your band-aid, you don't have the right to rip it off. That includes your children's, your co-workers, your friends, your families, the guys you drink with. If you're holding something and you know that they're holding something, let it go. Live and let live. These are situations where you live and you let live. Don't play judge, jury, and executioner on deeply rooted issues in other people's lives. And I'm going to leave you with that. This week we had a very interesting week. Adrian Payne, a former Michigan State standout basketball player, I believe he took them to the Elite Eight. He played for the Hawks. He was a first-round draft pick. He was killed at the age of 31 in a shooting. He got involved in a domestic dispute, quote unquote. This is what they say. Those are some of the most dangerous situations that you could come across. And I know that he wanted to probably stop this woman from maybe being abused, but it cost him his life. And I feel bad for him and his family and those who love him. Bob Lanier, Hall of Fame basketball player, used to play for Detroit Pistons and the Milwaukee Bucks. He was their center. When I was growing up, this dude was pretty damn awesome. That's why I guess he's in the Hall of Fame. He died at the age of 73. And the Ruby Ridge white separatist, Randy Weaver, who had that 11-day standoff back in 1992 with the federal agents, where I believe he killed the marshal, but they killed his wife and his son. He died this week, and he was 74. Sorry about that. Fred Ward, who starred in Trumas, Joe Dirt, and among a lot of other movies that you've seen over the course of your life, he died at 79. So we had a mass shooting. This Peyton Gendon, 18-year-old, he goes up into Buffalo from another neighborhood in New York City, and he shoots and kills 10 people, and he wounds at least 4 more. I mean, this dude is evil. He sits there and he claims not guilty. He filmed this shit live. I mean, you know what? What did these particular black people do to you? You can't, these cowards. They think that they're proving some kind of point when they're nothing but cowards. It's easy to take a gun and go to a bank of water and shoot fish. They can't defend themselves. They don't see you coming. There's no skill to that. When you are shooting people for no apparent reason who have never done you harm, I hope all his days are long. I hope he gets visited by the spirits of every one of those people that he harmed daily, every day, to the point where he can't think, breathe, sleep, eat, or even use the bathroom without one of them standing there and talking to him and telling him what he robbed their people of. To go to a grocery store, which is not the most prestigious work, but these people helped us out through the pandemic. They stayed open, man. They allowed us to go and be able to get supplies, foods, and the things that we need. You know what? We don't really look at them the way that we should. They were actually superheroes during this whole pandemic, the people that work in these markets, locally, super chains, whatever you want to call them, because we needed things. We needed to survive. We were home more than we was used to being home, so we went through things more than we normally would. And I hope that all the souls of those people whose life was snuffed out for no reason by this animal Peyton, that they rest in peace. Then yesterday, we have a shooting in a church. A man kills one person and he wounds 4 other people in a California church. A church. Now, this ain't the first time, because Dylan Roof already exists. The bombing of those little girls back in the days, this exists. People have not been respecting the sacred ground of even a church for many, many years. You know what? Why do you have to hurt somebody that's not hurting you? That is not a thing I understand, nor is it a thing I want to wrap my mind around. We also had 7 people wounded in shootings in downtown Milwaukee Friday night after the Bucks Celtics game. So they had to actually cancel Deer Park for yesterday's game, which we'll get to later. It's amazing, man. We are living in a truly amazing time, not an amazingly good time, an amazingly bad time. I mean, it's always great to be alive. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. The alternative of being in a deep sleep forever, as opposed to breathing, walking, talking, eating, and enjoying life, I'll take it every day. But there's a sad situations going on there. Now, I am a gun owner. I believe that people should have the right to bear arms. But I also believe that we have to tighten this thing up where the wrong people do not get guns in their hands. You know, this boy Peyton, he wants to go out there and play Army soldier. He's in tactical gear. You know what? He could have joined the military. He could have joined the Marines. He could have been a warrior if that's what he really, really was about. But no, let's be honest. He's a coward to his core. He wanted no challenge whatsoever. He wanted to be able to pull an automatic weapon out against people who at the most could throw a loaf of bread at him, a can, and there's no fairness in that. So we have a big deal going on here with abortions. Abortions should be the right of the individual woman and that man to pick and choose, and her voice actually trumping him. We know that this country does not give a fuck about kids. If this country gave a fuck about kids, we wouldn't have had the Boy Scouts and the Catholic Church abusing children for 100 years now. We have disrespected, we have allowed children to go hungry, we've allowed children to be molested, abused, and the social services for them have been always shitty. So now we're going to have all these mothers who may not want kids. We're going to have all these fathers and mothers who probably could have sat down and said, you know what, this is not in our best interest to do this at this time. And you know why it's not? Because we don't even love each other. We're not even planning on ever even being together. So why are we going to bring a child just to keep a bond that we don't even want to keep? It could be one night stands. This could be incest. This could be rape. How dare the Senate? How dare the GOP and this Senator Manchin block an attempt to enshrine the abortion rights into law? Now, I'm not going to speak on the Supreme Court's ruling until we officially see the Supreme Court ruling. But the Senate and the GOP, who don't give a fuck about no black child, who don't give a fuck about no Asian child, who don't give a fuck about no Hispanic child, why do these old white men and women think that they should speak for an 18-year-old girl who just wants to go on with her life? She had sex. Should she pay for that for the rest of her life? She had consensual sex, I'm hoping. And should she have to pay for that by stymieing her dreams of going to college, going to the military, doing things with her life? Now you make her basically a ward of the state. Then you blame her for being a ward of the state, but she's a mother at 18. She's a mother at 16. She's a mother at 15. And it's wrong. And just to let you know how little the fucking government cares about the children, how do we have a baby formula shortage? How do we have a shortage of something that maintains and gives nutrition to young babies? How do we do that? How does that even happen? But yes, we have a baby formula shortage. Makes no sense. On a lighter note, Elon Musk announced that his deal to buy Twitter was temporarily on hold. If this fucking idiot thinks that people are going to pay $3 a month to maintain Twitter, he's a fool to begin with. I won't do it. I'll let Twitter go away. Social media doesn't mean very much to me, if it means anything at all. I use it as a form to promote Strange Talk with Doc, and that's about it. So I went back and I started watching Seinfeld. You know, basically the whole series Seinfeld. It's not like it's the only thing I have to do, but I thought it was pretty cool to get a synopsis in my brain to remember these characters and how vile of human beings they actually were. So I did go back and I'm watching Seinfeld, and I'm not done with it because it's 9 seasons long. So it takes a while. And every time that I push one of the characters above the others as the most vile, the very next episode, somebody else does something that makes them viler than the last one. So, I mean, this thing should be studied in colleges, Seinfeld, psychological studies, sociology studies, to see the minds of madness, because these 4 people who look pretty normal were actually lunatics. The big 3 on This Is Us, they made a decision on Rebecca. I thought that they made the clear and right choice. It's good to see Kevin growing up. I mean, it took so long, but it's so good to see Kevin growing up. And it was nice to see Kate stand her ground and actually tell Randall, you can't make the call on this. This call was left in my hands. I can't wait to see where these last 2 episodes take us. I will miss this show greatly. The Winning Time went off the air. The first season ended. I don't know if there'll be a second season, but it was an outstanding first season. And as you know, in Magic Johnson's rookie year, the Lakers did, in fact, win a championship. So it ends off with the winning the championship, but it also dealt with the Spencer Haywood drama. That's a pretty heavy story. And just to let you know how dynamic a basketball player Spencer Haywood was, that even with all the problems that he had, this man still is a Hall of Famer. So that lets you know you must be a super talented athlete to make the Hall of Fame when you have issues like at the time, really nobody else had some of the issues that he had. Last Sunday, I watched WWE Backlash, and I am going to tip my hat to the WWE. They put on a hell of a show. RKO Bro, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Ezekiel, Edge, Rhea, Damon, almost MVP, and Lashley were outstanding. I watched Raw and SmackDown, and they kept the momentum going. I think that they're in a really good place that I haven't seen wrestling. If you're a fan of wrestling, I think it's in a really good place. I don't watch that AEW shit. I'm not interested watching a crowd that has 6,000 people on a little stage. I like the lights, the glitz, the glamour of the WWE. So I'm a fan, but when it's bad, it's bad. But RKO Bro right now could go like almost anywhere and make a building pop. They could show up at the NBA playoffs and that building would go crazy for them. And by the way, SummerSlam is going to be in Vegas, people. The 4th of July weekend, the same weekend the UFC is going to be having their international week. The WWE is going to be at Allegiant Field, and they are going to pack that place. That's just my prediction. They're going to pack that place. So Thursday night football, all games are going to be moved to Amazon Prime. I am totally against this. I have the NFL Network. They should have jointly had these games on the NFL Network and Amazon Prime. And the reason I say that is everybody is not going to want to watch the game on a tablet or a phone or even have their TVs connected through a computer to be able to have access to Amazon Prime, which you're now going to have to pay what? What does Amazon Prime cost? $12.99, $14.99 a month. Now, this is on top of your cable bill. Now you're paying for one night a week for a football game. I'm going to now get to know that I can rest on Thursday nights because I don't have to watch football on Thursday. The 2 Thursdays of the week that I'll be watching football is the opening game, which will be a regular game, and then Thanksgiving Day. So the Saints signed Jarvis Landry. He gets to go home. I wish him well. I wish Michael Thompson plays. We don't know what's going on with Alvin Kamara's deal, his legal actions. But if you have those 3, Jarvis on one side, Michael Thomas on the other, Jarvis Landry, Jameis Winston is playing well, I think they should be good. So Drew Brees is out as the NFL analyst for the NBC after 1 season. Well, Drew Brees, you can go back to wanting to be the leader of all black people. Remember that, you piece of shit? Fuck you, Drew Brees. I'm happy to see that he's out. He can go home and do whatever the fuck it is that he does because he's an idiot. The UFC fight night was this weekend, and Jan Blachowicz fought Alexander Rakic. And Blachowicz stopped Rakic basically with leg kicks. He beat this man's legs till his legs gave out. I'm hoping that Rakic's knee, which buckled at the end and he couldn't go on any further, I hope it's fine. I hope it doesn't require surgery or anything like that. Ryan Spahn fought Ian Kubala, and that was a good fight. I thought Ryan was doing something stupid by engaging him so much in wrestling because he kept getting taken down. But he knows himself a lot better than I know him because he submitted this man. Kaden Kutkagen fought Amanda Ribas. That was a good fight. I enjoyed that. Angela Hill lost to Verma Ambarosa. That was also a good fight. And Michael Johnson said, welcome back. Welcome back, Michael Johnson. A TKO over Alex Patrick. He looked good. He looked confident. I wanted him to use his hands. I didn't want him to engage as much as he was engaging, but he looked pretty good. Next weekend, we got Holly Holmes is fighting in a card on the UFC. So if you're a UFC fan, Holly Holmes, there is a card. I believe every Saturday in May, there will be a card from the UFC. So Nikolai Jokic has won his second straight MVP award for the NBA, and I think it's well deserved. I thought the Joker was the MVP. I know he got knocked out in the playoffs, but this is a regular season award. This is not the award for what you do in the postseason. This is the award for what you do during the regular season. Next weekend, we got the PGA Championship. Most of the big names in the world should be there. I don't know if Tiger's going to be there. I know Phil won't. He's doing some kind of nonsense with Saudi Arabia or United Emirates. So I don't know. And I won't miss Phil. Even though he's the defending champion, you know, he won't be there to defend his title this year. So this kid on the Reds, Reed Dietmars, he throws a no-hitter, which is pretty amazing. He throws the first solo no-hitter. He's a rookie, and I think this is only like his 7th or 8th start in the major leagues. What a way to welcome yourself to the major leagues, Reed. Good for you. And I had found out, I didn't even notice, the Mets had thrown a no-hitter using 6 pitches. They did that against the Phillies back on 4/29. Now, Reed threw this, and he's an Angels rookie. He threw his no-hitter on 5/10. So we had the NBA play. Oh, and by the way, congratulations to my New York Yankees. They are rolling, baby. It feels good. This looks like a season that's going to turn into something. As long as there's no mid-season lull where they go something like 13 or 15-5, they should be fine. They should be a playoff team. They look good. The bats are hitting. The pitchers are pitching very well. And I know a lot of people are not Yankee fans, but this is a diehard Yankee fan voice the voice that you're hearing is of a diehard, long-time Yankee fan, okay? So the Suns lost to the Mavericks 4-3. Chris Paul's talking about retirement. Farewell, good riddance, goodbye. I always thought Chris Paul was overrated. Did I think he's a good player? Yeah. Is he Hall of Famer? Yeah. Is he one of my favorite? He's one of my least favorite players of all time. He ranks up there with Isaiah Thomas as 2 of my least favorite. They go neck and neck as my least favorite players of all time. Luka Doncic is the real deal, people. Jason Kidd's got them playing good basketball. It's going to be interesting going forward. The Celtics put it on the Bucks yesterday, and they beat them 4-3 to wrap up that series. Jason, Marcus, that Celtic, and Al Horford, that Celtic team has been hot since the All-Star break. People have ignored them. People have downgraded them. People have not paid the proper attention. When a team or anybody tells you who they are, Take a look and listen. They might be telling you the God's honest truth. And the way the Celtics have played since the All-Star break, which is the best basketball in the NBA, they should have been given a little bit more props. Giannis is always going to give it his all, but he didn't have Middleton, so it was but so much he could do. The Warriors beat the Grizzlies without Ja Morant 4-2, and the Heat beat the 76ers, basically embarrassed the 76ers 4-2. Once again, James Harden is not who he says he is. I don't care about the gaudy numbers over the course of the years that he was putting up in Houston, but when it comes to winning time, it's foreign language to him. So now we have the Mavs versus Golden State and the Heat versus the Celtics. Now, on pure scoring ability and offense, plus because I think their defenses are kind of similar to each other, I'm going to pick the Celtics to go to the finals over the Heat. This might take 6. This might take 7 games. It's going to be a grueling series. And I also am going to take weird. I'm going to go with the underdog here. I'm going to take the Mavericks to beat Golden State. Is Luka going to have to score down to 30 a night? Sure he is. So I'm picking the Mavericks to play the Celtics. I'm not going to pick a winner of that yet. Why pick a winner? We haven't even got there. Now, next week, this is my teaser. This is the subject matter. This is what we're going to get into start off the show. That we are all born with relatives, but you still may need to make your own true family. Once again, we are all born with relatives. Even if you are an orphan, you might not know them. They might have passed away. We were born. We are related to somebody, but that does not make a person family. You have to pick your true family. So we'll get into that next week. I hope that you have a great week. I hope that you have a positive week. I hope you get those green lights you need, that blessing that you may need, that good report back from the doctor that you desperately have been begging for, that new opportunity or job. I hope things just go your way, but only if you be good to others. Pay it forward. Be good to other people because they're other human beings and they go through stuff too. Don't spend any time ripping band-aids or bandages off of other people's wounds. That is not your job. And I'm going to tell you like I tell you each and every time, people, peace to you and peace to yours.